Hi, this is Ed with Ritchie Industries. Today I'm going to show you how to change a valve on one of our smaller Omni units. First thing I'm going to do is take off my cover. This is a demo unit. I don't have it hooked up to a water supply, but if you are doing this on your unit, first thing you want to do is shut off your water. So take off your access panel, get to the valve underneath, and shut off your water supply. We've had a video out there how to change a valve rubber in these. There is a tool that makes this a little easier. I have just taken an ordinary nail and bent that, and this helps me get the pin out of my valve. So I am going to take that tool and go in on the back side of my valve, put the tip of my tool on the back side of my pin without pinching my heater cable. And just cam that in, and that should push my pin out. There, my pin just popped out. So now I can reach in and pull that pin, but when I pull that pin, my arm is going to want to fall, so I'm going to support that. There's my pin. And now out the bottom of the valve, I'm going to pull the arm, the valve seat, and the valve seat holder. I've got my arm and float assembly, my valve seat holder with my valve seat in place. Now it's pretty tight in here. I'm not going to be able to get the wrench the size needed to be able to loosen that valve body. So I'm going to go ahead and take my valve bracket off of my frame, and I'm going to do that using a ratchet with a 5/16 socket on it. I'm going to go down at the bottom of the bracket. There are two bolts that hold that to the frame. I want to loosen those. One. There's my second one. With those out, now I can pull my valve bracket up, and I now can get full access to my valve body. So I'm going to use my adjustable wrench, put that on my valve body. I'm going to loosen that. Trying not to pinch or damage my heater cable in the process. Once I get that loosened up, I should be able to do it by hand. Okay, there's my valve body that I would be replacing if I were doing this operation. So I would take my new valve body, and you notice that has sealant on it, and I would use either a PTFE sealant paste or a Teflon tape, either one, and you just want to get that all the way around the threads, and then you go ahead and reinstall that. Teflon in a plastic joint is primarily a lubricant to the joint. The actual sealing is done by the interference of the plastic threads. So you want to be careful not to over tighten a plastic joint, or you could potentially crack your fittings. So I'm going to go ahead and take that around. Now that's about as far as I want to go. Note I see my hole on my valve body here. That's approximately the angle that I wanted that, so my float has full range of motion. Before I reinstall my 2 bolts, I am going to check that. So I am going to go ahead and put this in just with the pin in far enough that it aligns it. Okay, and I'm going to put that up against the wall, and I can see that I need to bring that around a little farther. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up just a little farther. Now I've got full range of motion on my float, so that is approximately the right angle. So I can go ahead and pop that back out to put my valve seat back in. I now need to install my valve rubber and my plunger. So I'm going to put that with the valve rubber facing up into my valve body. I'm going to push that up with my valve arm and install my pin. Wiggle that around so it lines up. There she goes. I have that installed. Okay. Now I just need to reattach my valve bracket to my frame. Put my screws back into the metal inserts in the frame. Take my tool, my ratchet, and tighten those up. And just snug those up nice and tight. Now I'm going to inspect my heater cable, make sure that my zip ties are still in place, and if that is pulled tightly close to my valve and close to my water line as it comes up. Make sure my valve arm is free to move. The next step would be to turn our water back onto our unit. So we go back underneath our unit to our access panel, turn on our water supply. That should go ahead and fill our trough. Double check to make sure your water level is where you want it. You can adjust that with the float right here. And then we're going to put our cover back on. And we've just changed a valve on a small Omni Ritchie Waterer. Thank you for watching. For more information about Ritchie products, please visit ritchiefount.com.